Oh, Tower of God, how I should never have doubted you. F. Rachel is back on the menu. Honestly, I think that's what this season's been missing. We needed more characters to just want to push this wench down the stairs. Koon blew my mind, though. I knew we were going to get him in this episode, given the end of the previous episode. But when he started, like, maybe it's because it's been like 5 years since the last time we watched Tower of God. Maybe it's just because of how they directed it, but when he walked in saying, "I am home," we see Rachel's name on the freaking door. And then the longer it goes on, at one point he says, "Forget about Bam, he's dead." And it's like, oh man, do not like, I was an overflowing pot of boiling water, man. I was like, don't tell me another boy is getting manipulated by this witch. And when she I'm surprised she didn't do a cartwheel when she got out of, like, when he left the room and she was stretching her legs and all this BS. But when you see the little security cam and he's talking about how, yep, she's as good as ever. Probably one of the most genuine reactions I've had this year in anime, where I just bursted out, shooketh. I was like, that's my boy. He knew all along that this bitch needs to go. It's very rare that I'll be able to use Kendrick Lamar lyrics in my thumbnail. But for Rachel, you know I had to bust them out. I, of course, have full live reactions over on Patreon. If you want to see my full and thought to any of these Tower of God episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So I have been very honest in the fact that I was very happy when Tower of God came back, and, you know, a lot of people had issues with the change in art style. I was just happy to be back. But then the episodes following it, yes, it started to feel like things were missing. It just felt like there was way too much setup and we were cutting out a lot of characterization, and all I'm hearing from source readers is that's absolutely true. Like, we missed a lot of development to make us care about a lot of the stuff. But now that it feels like they're trying to get those introductions out of the way, not to say that we don't have other introductions, as this is similar, another type of introduction episodes with some familiar faces, of course. But it just felt like the most Season 1, and Season 2 has been a miss for me overall. Still have enjoyed watching it, but Season 2 has been a miss. Because at the end of the day, what is the thing that I think most people left Season 1 excited to see more of? What the hell's going to happen to Bam now that Rachel tried to kill him? What the hell's going to happen to Rachel and the characters we've grown to know and love? And where is the overall plot going to go, especially surrounding the tower and different interpersonal relationships? And Season 2, while yes, they play into the what happened to Bam role with the whole Viola plot line going on, it just felt like, you know, yeah, we do need more of that bitch. And they brought the bitch back, and it just made for an even better experience. Here's the thing about characters like Rachel. As much as I, or collectively the anime community, are going to throw daggers at her, the day she actually dies and is no longer relevant in the story is actually going to be a sad day, because that level of toxicity is something that adds a lot of drama that is good for the show. It infuriates you, but it's done so intentionally. Honestly, okay, so recently I made a video on the latest episode of Failure Frame, and the goddess in that show is legitimately one of the most toxic that I think I've experienced. But if you had a character like Rachel, and she was a goddess summoning people in an isekai, I legitimately think there would be no one worse than her in terms of being a goddess summoning people. She is horrible. She is just a spiteful, pitiful woman. And honestly, man, the fact that she's playing up this, like, oh yeah, you know, my legs ain't working, and oh yeah, he has to skin the apple for it. It's like, when he says that, and he just starts talking, and just the directing about how, like, you know, it's his burden to bear, and just how don't get too close to her, I'm like, if only Bam can see him right now. If only my boy Bam could see what the hell this bitch is going through. It's just, this is the episode I needed, man. I really, really did. Like, in a weird way, I almost wonder if, like, we could have had this episode sooner, like, maybe around, like, 3 or something. Even though it breaks up the flow, I don't know, it just gives me a lot more hope for this season, and I don't know if I'll be the only one. Of course, I think collectively, the comment sections across the internet are just going to be raving and ranting about Rachel existing, and I don't say I blame them. But at the end of the day, Rachel's saving Season 2. I'm gonna give her that level of compliments. It would be incredibly hilarious, though, if Koon was able to get to the top of the tower, only to push her off of her. Like, could you imagine he's, like, pushing her in the wheelchair, they finally get to the top of the tower, he's like, oh, It's a hefty fall, just like you did to my boy Bam. Just flips her off. Could you imagine? That's how I want this show to actually end. That would be the perfect ending. Some people are wondering, will Luffy become Pirate King? Will he discover the One Piece? You know, this, that, and the third. No, I just want to see if Koon's going to flip her off of her wheelchair down into the abyss. That'd be absolutely fantastic. Now, overall, this looks and feels like most of the episodes in Season 2, but it just had a vibe to it. Like, that scene when Koon was recruiting, right? And this was a really cool moment. Like, as much as I love the whole Rachel stuff and just talking smack about her, when they're at the restaurant area, he basically puts this thing down. It looks like a sapphire. He says a different name. It's like, okay, if you can get through the door before anyone gets you, it's yours. And then he just uses the flash level speed to go down the emergency exit. That doesn't work. Koon's out here either half the time with his hand like this or in his pocket. The dude's the most casual mofo alive. I'm convinced when the camera's not on him, though, he's actually sprinting, because the Flash over here gets down to the end of the hallway in like 3 seconds, and Koon's like 5 seconds behind him. This man's totally sprinting, but when the camera's on him, he's acting so cool, calm, and collected, like he's like Muzan from Demon Slayer, casually rolling up to the final battle, and I love it. But the idea that he was honest, he's like, everyone in here is a paid actor. He didn't believe him, then he gets like just casually quick draw sniped. I love that stuff. It was just super fun, super simple, but it just set the fun factor, I guess, for this episode. And I'm, in a weird way, maybe watching stuff like that and just feeling like something's different about Koon, it let my guard drop, so I just kind of believed the bullshit that he was giving to Rachel. I was like, man, Bam's gonna be so disappointed if he ever sees you. Only for me to realize that, no, he's a homie for life. You killed my boy, I'ma kill you. And it's just like, oh man, and the fact that you have to keep the team unity going so that she gets, it's like, oh. This is the happiest I've been talking about Tower of God all season. If you've been following the videos, and I've been honest with the fact that things have been off for me. I didn't want to drop it, but I was like, man, like, Season 2 may not be it, but Season 2's back on track. People say what they will, but at the end of the day, you know, you can't expect people, like, an anime adaptation has to stand on its own 2 legs. You can't have to read a source material to get the full context. So the fact that the characterization was pretty mediocre, and it felt like a lot of the side characters that they were trying to introduce on Bam's team were kind of getting shafted, is an issue. But now that introductions are over, it feels like it's a lot more structured. I mean, look at the stuff at the end where Violet ends up having to take down someone who's using their name in terms of, like, causing a ruckus, as you have the one girl being the only one who collectively is like, we probably shouldn't trust the terrorists, as everyone else is talking smack saying, yeah, but you can't cook. 10 out of 10 episode for me. What can I say? Let me know your thoughts and feelings down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here. Of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, full live reactions over on Patreon. And hey, while you're over there, I'll give you a video shout out. Alright, so today we got Austin Trammell, Tim Kaine, Dennis Jansen, Sirhill, Groundvert, and we also have Mashuru Kurtzuru. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you all have a good one.